Hi everyone, welcome to my desk. Today I want to compare two great Seiko automatic watches, the SKX013 and the Mini Turtle SRP-C37. Watch for watch, which is better? I think it's the Mini Turtle that really wins here, but let's see why. Let's see why that is my instinctive feeling. Let's compare the dimensions quickly. They're both intended for smaller wrists. Although the Mini Turtle is 42.3 millimeters wide, the bezel is only 39 millimeters, which makes a big difference in how it wears on the wrist. The SKX is only 37.7 millimeters wide, but does have a longer lug-to-lug of 44.4 millimeters compared to 43 millimeters on the Mini Turtle. The case thickness is the same at 13 millimeters, and the lug width is also the same at 20 millimeters each. When I first took the SKX out of the box, I was surprised at how small it looked. But I got accustomed to it pretty quickly, and it looked as big as it needed to be. Moving on, I think the case shape will be the deciding factor here for many. The SKX is a classic and will stand the test of time, or already has stood the test of time. On the other hand, the cushion case of the Mini Turtle, it's probably its second or third coming, so it kind of comes and goes out of fashion. The cushion case had a boom in the 60s and 70s and maybe even into the 80s, but was originally designed for dive watches back in the 20s. But I think that also gives the Turtle a vagabond kind of nature. It's just not for everyone. The case is more intricate on the Mini Turtle and you can spend more time looking at it. On the other hand, the SKX is a classic, clean design, and will pair easily with most attires. The quality of the finish is pretty much similar on both, and I wouldn't say that one is better than the other, but the Turtle at the end of the day is more interesting to look at for me. The bezel is much better on the Mini Turtle. The bezel action is really quite poor on the SKX. The grooves to grip the bezel are horrible. They're more of an impression of a knurling than actual knurling to give you grip, and on mine is just too tight as well, so I'm not going to be playing with that too often. The Mini Turtle is much better. It has better grip, it feels better, and it's just as sturdy. So what else can I say? The dial and indices, the Mini Turtle is maybe better here too in a scientific, measurable kind of way. Nothing wrong with the SKX dial. It's like sitting in the interior of a nice car from the 90s. The older style, the older materials, they still feel good in a nostalgic kind of way. The Mini Turtle dial is like the interior of a nice car from 2023. It's been keeping up with the Joneses or the Kardashians, with the applied indices rather than printed, a blacker black dial rather than the slightly grayer tone of the SKX. Just nudges it to be the better dial here. The handset, here again the Mini Turtle pulls away. The hands have a better brush finish with smoother edges. Looks like someone took the time to touch up the bird edges on the Mini Turtle. The SKX, they were stamped out the quickest possible way, and it shows. Except for the seconds hand, which does have some character. The hour and minute hands are very bare, and I can tell the edges aren't that smooth. And it has a reflective finish. I wouldn't call it polished. This is the SKX013, which has a different handset than the OG SKX007 or the SKX009, which shares the same design as the Mini Turtle, but I do not know about the finishing on those. Comparing the movements, I think it's a draw in my eyes. The SKX has the older movement, but it's still a good one. The 4R35 in the Mini Turtle is a derivative of the 7S26 in the SKX. You are buying an older watch in the SKX and you knew that going in, so it's fine. The 4R35 has the modern hacking hand winding capabilities, but it's also very widely used now by tons of micro brands, and that kind of cheapens its appeal a little bit to me. I didn't feel like that before, but now I'm starting to feel that way just because so many brands are using them now. The price, it's actually quite marvelous that you could have bought an SKX watch for under $200 all these years. But for me, this is a $500 watch, and you can find a new one in that range of about $500 to $800 now. So now you're paying for a piece of history. In the used market, because they were so cheap before, everyone has modded these out to suit their style. So a clean one is still hard to find at a decent price. You do have the option of going for a micro brand like Islander that pretty much have the same case and movement, but different branding, of course. The mini turtle you can have for about $350 to $400, so it's hard to swallow a premium of $200 to $300 on an SKX. When Seiko have come a long way for a $400 watch. You're getting a very good watch with a very good movement. These Seikos, either of them, just because they're so attainable, does not mean they can't be precious. You're getting a great case design and finishing, a mega history, a no headache movement. You don't need to take this to an AD to get it serviced for $500 to $1,000. That would not be a pleasant experience for me. I think that's all I can say about these two watches. The Mini Turtle does inch ahead on most key factors, but the SKX has the old as gold value. The SKX will be a piece of history, and if that's what you want to know what all the YouTube channels are talking about when they compare so many watches to the SKX, then yeah, the heart wants what it wants. Just get it. You can't go wrong. But to me, the Mini Turtle would make more sense for the money. That's it from me for this time. Thank you for listening, guys. Ciao.